Hi, my loves. Welcome to another episode if you're listening on the podcast. And hi, welcome to another video if you are watching this on our new YouTube channel. So, first thing first, this week is my birthday and I am celebrating another milestone. I am actually turning 35. And turning 35 really excites me. Honestly, I'm ecstatic because with age comes wisdom. And I have learned so many new things these past 34 years. But since it's my birthday and since I'm turning another year younger, I've kind of been just reflecting, honestly. Reflecting on just things that life has taught me along the way. And honestly, I don't think we talk about these things enough. The lessons that life teaches us. Not just about being successful, which is amazing and we all want that, but more on the healing, doing the inner work, the mistakes we make, and the growth, personal growth we do into becoming the best version of ourselves, right? And so today that is what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be sharing with you guys 10 things I've learned by the age of 35. Here we go, let's begin. The first lesson that I personally have learned, and it's the number one thing I teach to my clients or just tell anyone who asks, how can I start my inner work journey? Or how can I start to heal? Or whatever it is that you're looking for, the number one thing you need is to start becoming self-aware. To become aware of your patterns, your triggers, the thoughts you have, the mindset, the way you live your life or react to things, right? For me, self-awareness changed everything. From the way I dated to the way I reacted to situations that I would encounter. An example for me was when I was dating the same type of person over and over again. Even though it was a completely new guy, I was getting the same results at the end, or I was having the same type of discussions or arguments. And it wasn't until I became self-aware of my patterns in the way I was dating and the way I was showing up in these relationships that I finally realized that, one, I had to make changes in my life to start attracting the right person into my life, because the version of me who was dating the people who I just wasn't aligned with wasn't the version of me who I saw myself dating, my dream man, my dream person. And the beauty of becoming self-aware is that once you see the pattern, you don't unsee them. For the next time you do encounter a similar experience, you can go back to that recognition of the pattern and say, this will lead me to that path. I don't want to go there. So I'm going to make a choice, a change to go a different way. That to me is so important, just on a personal growth level. And for me, self-awareness is also about taking responsibility rather than just blaming, right? Rather than just being in victim consciousness. Because one thing, when we are constantly unaware of our patterns, our triggers, the way we react to things, when we are unaware, we are constantly in victim mentality because we think it's everyone else's problem or fault or the reason why we are in a certain situation, but we don't recognize that it's actually our choices that brought us on that path. And when we take responsibility for the choices we make, then we are actually taking our power back. And we can choose something different to change our current reality, right? So that's what self-awareness helps you with, is to become more responsible for the life you are creating in the future and in the present moment. Lesson number 2, and I have my notes here so I don't lose track, but lesson number 2 is you teach people how to treat you. We show people how to treat us. We do this unconsciously. But when you add self-awareness to this, you actually start to become conscious on how you are actually showing people how they should treat you. The way you show people how to treat you is going to be through your boundaries, through self-respect, and your standards. The moment you stop accepting less is the moment that you will start to show up different, and the moment that people will start treating you different. Remember, how you see yourself is how other people will respond to you. So this is a huge lesson I had to learn for myself. When I realized this, it was like explosion just popped up in my head, right? Because I grew up with low self-esteem. I grew up thinking that worst things about myself, right? Because I was bullied at a young age. I experienced a lot of bullying after that. I had a lot of criticism thrown at me at a very young age. And what that did to my self-esteem was just made me feel really small and have little to no belief in myself. And so when you grow up feeling like you are not enough, you are not lovable, like you are constantly criticizing yourself or nitpicking at yourself or just any of those things, you show up in a different way, where you are giving this energy, this aura of vulnerability, of people can now pick on you because you are showing up a certain way. But what happens when you are no longer disrespecting yourself? You are actually showing up for yourself, taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. When you are actually showing up, you're setting healthy boundaries with yourself and others, that you start to show up in a way that people can see how your energy is different. People can see how you are now someone who loves themselves and respects themselves. So they will also respect you because you respect yourself, right? I always ask this question, do you even like yourself, right? There was a time when I realized I didn't really like myself. I didn't like spending time with myself. I had to be around other people, or I needed validation from other people to feel like I was good enough. But when I really started doing my inner work and started healing, those shadows started to dissolve. Those insecurities started to dissolve. And so I learned that the way I treat myself is a reflection of how people are going to perceive me and going to treat me as well. So the first thing I would do is become self-aware. Self-aware of, how am I feeling about myself inside? How am I showing up for myself? How am I respecting myself? And if this person continues to, disrespect you or treat you bad, and you know that you are showing up for yourself, then the next thing is to put up the right boundaries, right? Maybe it's time to let go of that person that's mistreating you or that doesn't respect you, right? And your higher self is asking you to elevate, to go higher and become a new version of yourself who doesn't let people like that treat you. Because sometimes what happens is that we grow, we expand, and some of the people don't get to come along that ride with us. So, anywho, when it comes to teaching people how to treat you, it starts with yourself first. How are you treating yourself? Do you even like yourself? Start writing a list of the different ways that you do like yourself and that you show up for yourself, and start repeating that and doing those things over and over again until it becomes the new version of yourself, right? The third lesson that I've learned so far is confidence is not real. And what do I mean by that? I always strive to be confident, and I always strive to have more confidence in myself doing the thing. But what I would see happen is that I would want to do something, and because I wasn't confident in it, I would stop myself from going after the things I wanted, right? I would make excuses because I wasn't confident enough. I couldn't do these things. And the truth is that it doesn't start with confidence. It actually starts with being courageous. Being courageous is what's going to help you take the first step that will eventually help you make the next step and do the next step, and eventually having that practice of doing the same thing over and over again will actually help you to build the confidence to do the thing in the first place. So that is so incredible, because when I first learned that, it really changed my viewpoint on everything that I did. I realized that I didn't need confidence. What I needed to be was courageous, to be brave. And being an Aries that I am, that is already inside of me. And I can remember all the times that I was actually courageous first. I would say impulsive, and I took action before thinking, but in reality it was me being courageous in the moment and just taking a leap of faith and going after what I wanted. Honestly, doing those things over and over again gave me the confidence to show up and be here in front of you and to do the things that I am passionate about, to keep pursuing the projects or the businesses that I've started. So when you find yourself looking for confidence first, know that you need to just take that first baby step, get started, and then keep repeating the same action over and over again until it becomes habitual. So be courageous first. Confidence comes later. So I think we're on lesson 4. But the next lesson I learned was to realize that you're not behind, you are on your own timeline. To me, that was so important, because what this comes down to is, are you comparing yourself to other people or to other people's journey and experiences, right? You are on your own timeline. You came here to have your own personal human experience. So you will never have the same experience as someone else. And that's okay. You don't need to be like anyone else. You came here to be uniquely yourself. And sometimes that's hard for us, because when we can't see our light and our greatness, we can never shine in the way we are meant to shine, right? We are always looking to follow others and let someone else lead us. But when you take charge of your own life, when you start to believe in yourself and that you can be successful in whatever it is that you want to do in this lifetime, there is nothing that can stand in your way. Nothing is impossible for you, right? Because you have a certain story that you are meant to play out in this world, in this life. But the one thing that will stop you from achieving greatness in your life, or just going after the things that you desire, is making yourself small by comparing yourself to other people and other people's journeys and life paths, trying to be just like them. And I'm talking from a place of experience, because that's how I spent most of my early 20s, was just looking at other people and seeing how they were living their life and comparing my life to them, and always feeling like I was not good enough, always feeling like I was just behind, never catching up. I was trying to play a game that wasn't even my game to play with to begin with. And so if you're in that place where you are constantly finding yourself feeling stuck or overwhelmed because you are trying to be someone you're not, then let me tell you that you will stay in that loop, in that pattern, for a very long time, until you learn to turn off, unfollow, unsubscribe, or just learn to stay focused on your path, your goals, and what you desire in your life. So I hope that helps someone out there, because that was a lesson I needed to learn for myself. And once I realized, became self-aware that I was doing that, it shifted things for me. I no longer felt insecure. I no longer felt stuck. I had a vision for myself and I stuck to it. So it will help you so much on your journey. Something else I put down for this was that you get your own idea and ways to do things for a reason. What God, the divine, the universe has put into your mind is for a reason. And it's not meant to be the same as someone else. So your ideas, they are your ideas. They're given to you for a reason, to take action and to do it your way. Even if people say they got better results doing it a different way, just focus on what you feel aligned to and what you feel inspired to do. And that will take you further than just doing it the way someone else wants you to do things. So the next lesson I wrote down is your relationship with money is emotional. And this is so true. The way you feel about money is going to be the reason behind how much money you make, right? If you are constantly feeling like that you are never making enough money, that whatever you spend, you never make it back, or that you have to work hard for money, you are actually building a very negative relationship with money. You are actually going to stay stuck and not attract money into your life. For me personally, growing up with low self-esteem, it always made me feel like I wasn't enough. And that feeling of not being enough also correlates with not feeling enough to have money in your life, right? Because you're always putting yourself down and always believing you're smaller than you really are. So for me personally, in the past, my biggest struggle was when I would spend money, I would feel really bad. I would have this fear that I could feel in my chest when I was spending money, buying something. And then it went to me being extremely frugal with things. And I didn't want to spend my money at all because I didn't believe that I could make more fast, right? I knew that I had to just work for money. And so it wasn't until I learned how to feel safe with money that I started to realize that money comes into my life in the way that I feel and think about it. If I believe that, money is hard to come by, the universe is going to see that and not let money flow into my life the way it's meant to, right? Because I'm always thinking, if you think about wealthy people, they have the mindset of the money is there and it's gonna come in either way. So I'm just going to spend. and they don't have this resistance against spending or this resistance against making more money easily. So what I realized is that the way I was feeling about money and the way I was thinking about money had to do a lot with the number I had in my bank account. And once I shifted that mindset and started to build a healthy relationship with money, I started to see things change. Money would come my way in different ways. And I started to feel like I was attracting money easily into my life and finally starting to see that physically. So learning how to regulate your nervous system when it comes to your money blocks is so important. And for me, I would say that was one of my biggest lessons throughout my years. It's still something that I am constantly working on and improving on. But I also give myself compassion and grace and know that long-term journey, not something that's going to happen overnight, because it's not. It takes time to reprogram that mindset. My biggest advice, start with your mindset around money and how you feel about money, and you will start to see how you can easily attract money into your life. Something important that I had to learn, rest is productive. We all know about burnout. Remember those videos that would always just tell you that to be successful, you need to be working all the time. It was hustle mentality. And to sleep only when you are gone, right? That this is a time to work hard and work. But the reality of that is that will only shorten your lifespan. And this is proven by science too. People are now studying how having a good night's sleep is going to actually expand your life. It is going to help you be more productive, and it's going to affect you in the way you show up in life, right? For me, I started to understand this when I was working 10-hour shifts, but I was going to bed extremely late. And I would be able to do that for one day, be okay the next day, but afterwards, it started to catch up with me. My moods would be different. I would go back to my old self where I would just not care about the healthy habits that I've put for myself. And I would basically revert back to the version of me that I was no longer aligned with. When we have rest, we give ourselves that time to refuel and recharge our energy, our battery. Think of it like a car. Like if you are driving and you don't stop, you are going to use up all your gasoline. What happens when you get to zero? You stop. And the same can happen to us, which can equal to burnout. It can equal to feeling low energy, feeling drained, and you just don't want to get to that point. Another great lesson that I had to learn throughout my lifespan is learning to trust yourself, learning to trust your inner voice. To me, that was a really big lesson, because I was someone who was always battling against her inner critic, who was always battling against negative thoughts about herself. Learning to trust myself was actually very difficult for me. And I didn't even realize it. I thought I did trust myself, but when it came to me being courageous, I didn't go after the things I wanted to in the way the universe knew I was capable of, right? I struggled a lot with believing in myself, and I believe that's one of the reasons why I struggled reaching my long-term goals, right? If I'm being real with you, learning to trust yourself is about learning to trust your intuition, and also learning to keep promises to yourself, right? When you say you're going to do something, you do it. And I remember when I actually stopped trusting myself, and that was the first time I ever quit at something. Before then, I've never quitted. I remember when I quit playing soccer in high school. I remember that for me was a shifting point because I let my negative thoughts get the best of me and trusted that voice more than I trusted my intuition, which was telling me, hey, keep doing this. You will get better. You do enjoy doing this. You have so much fun with your team. You know, that's what my intuition was telling me. But my inner critic was just telling me the complete opposite of like, I'm not good enough. I shouldn't even be playing. I'm just bringing people down. I'm not this, I'm not that. And I realized that after that, subconsciously, I knew myself as a quitter, and it trickled down into other little areas of my life that I just stopped myself from taking inspired action. And if I did do something, I wouldn't trust myself to get me to that next level. Instead, I would just quit because a fear came up or just a limiting belief came up. And I would trample on my progress, and it really stomped me. So what this taught me in my life is that learning to do what I say I'm going to do and see it through was a way that I was going to build self-trust within me, and it will lead me to my next success in life, right? Everything you do is a choice, and everything you do is building confidence in you. It's building self-trust. It is helping you to grow into the person you are meant to become, right? However you see yourself. And so when I learned that what I say and do matters, and keeping my promises to myself matters, the number one thing that keeps me continuing on this journey, because I want to be the type of person who is self-led. I want to be the type of person who keeps her promises and finish what she starts. And so that is the integrity, that is the standard I hold myself to. And it all starts from learning how to trust that you're going to keep the promises. Lesson number 8 is learning that not everything is meant to work out. This one was a hard pill to swallow because I really learned this lesson when it came to relationships. For me personally, I have always wanted to, have a family and be in a very loving relationship. And for the longest time, I just kept attracting the wrong type of people into my life. Learning to let go of something that is not meant for you is a really important lesson, because being the type of person who wants to fix everything or wants this one thing to work out the way you want, sometimes life has a different plan for you and wants to redirect you, right? I also learned this lesson through my first career, which was fashion, right? I kept going at it, and even though it didn't go the way I planned, I kept at it, and I was struggling a lot. I was going against the way the river flows, right? And instead of going with what my intuition was telling me, I was going up against it, and I was fighting it and fighting the redirection that life was trying to show me and pivot me, right? And what this does for you is that it prolongs something that is not meant for you. And the more you prolong it, the worse it gets, until life really puts its foot down and gives you a tower moment, right? A tower moment is when something chaotic happens to stop you from going down the path that you are just not meant to go on. For me, that was hitting rock bottom and not knowing my purpose in life and just feeling so depressed and filled with so much anguish that I was feeling lost, right? I felt purposeless. I had no direction. And it was a really low point in my life. That was because I was going against what the universe was trying to redirect me towards. Learning that you are not being rejected, but you are being redirected to something that is aligned with you, that something is meant for you. And so you can see this happen in so many ways. You can see this happening in relationships when you are in the wrong relationship and life is trying to show you maybe the red flags or trying to show you how you guys don't have the same values. It also can show up in friendships, right? It can show up where both of you are just going in different directions, don't want the same thing, can't feel connected. And so it's important to leave before it gets worse. So not everything is meant to work out, and that is okay. We don't need everything to work out. We just need the right things to work out for us, right? We just need that one right person. You know, all of these lessons don't compare to my lesson number 9, and that is your nervous system impacts your whole life. This is why I've left this one towards the end, because for me, learning to regulate my nervous system has been a life changer. I didn't realize that my whole life, pretty much, I didn't feel safe in my body. I didn't feel safe, even though little by little I was learning about the way I thought and how I was creating my reality by the way I was thinking, the things I was saying. But when I realized that my emotions, how powerful they are, and they show me what I actually believe subconsciously, it was such a game changer for me, right? Learning how to feel safe again, feeling safe again in my body, feeling safe as a person, feeling safe as myself, is a true game changer, I would say. You know, I grew up always feeling like I was in survival mode. I always felt like I was just struggling in life and nothing was ever working out for me, but not realizing that it was just because I didn't feel safe in my body. I was irregulated through, you know, life circumstances and my past. But once you start working on yourself, doing your inner work, learning the right tools, learning to accept and love inner peace more than trying to gain validation for all the wrong reasons, then you will change the way you live your life and you show up in the world. And it impacts everything. I mean, you go from struggling to thriving. You go from always being sad to being joyful and loving life and just enjoying every moment, every second of just being in this world and this journey you're on, this path. So I would say that was a huge lesson for me, and I learned that later in life, to be honest. It wasn't until these past 5 years that I actually started working on my nervous system. And each year I kept learning more and more about it, what it means. And I think now as a collective, it's being thrown around, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's good that so many people are aware of how important regulating your nervous system is, and learning to work with the right coaches that can teach you how to do that as well and guide you on that path. And for my final lesson that I have learned is awareness without action keeps you stuck. We live in the information era, right? We have so much information at our hands and feet. But if we don't learn how to embody the things we are learning, we will never become the versions of us who have success or thrive in life, right? Because all we're doing is keeping ourselves stuck and just in learning, awareness, but we're not actually practicing what we are learning. And that is so important. I was learning so many things about healing, so many things about doing inner work. I was learning about the nervous system and our thoughts, our mindsets, how our subconscious works, and how to build habits. And I was just learning so much. But it got to a point where I wasn't seeing the results, and that was because I wasn't actually being embodied in what I was learning. I wasn't actually taking action, practicing what I was learning, until I finally started to, do the breathing work, doing the EFT, the tapping, doing the rewiring of my thoughts, reprogramming my mindset, doing all the things. That's when I started to see results showing up in my life. I started to see a difference in who I was becoming. I no longer resonated with my old self, the one who had low self-esteem, the one who didn't believe in herself, the one who just let people walk all over her, right? Instead, I was becoming a woman who is self-led, a woman who respects herself, a woman who believes in herself and has confidence because she takes action and she's courageous, and she is going after everything she desires in life. So my advice is, whatever it is that you are learning at the moment, also start doing the thing. Start practicing, taking small little baby steps towards going after your goals, and you'll start to see results in your life. So those were my 10 lessons that have really impacted me in my life journey so far. And I'm pretty sure, as the years go by, I'll learn so much more. If you guys like this episode, please leave it a like, make sure to subscribe, and share this with someone you care about, needs to hear this, right? And also, I want to share with you guys, I have a workbook. It's called The Inner Architect Method Workbook. It is a workbook that helps you to achieve your goals in 90 days. This is so great for anyone who is struggling in achieving their goals, anyone who feels stuck in their life or feels lost, or just maybe you feel overwhelmed or you just have trouble taking action. This will actually help you to gain clarity on what you value, gain clarity on the next steps that you need to take, and it also helps you to gain confidence, right? Like we talked about, use courage. It walks you through different steps to achieving the goal that you desire. And if you would like to purchase that workbook, I will leave it in the description down below, and along with all my other offers and ways that we can work together. So until next time, bye guys. Bye.